Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us again. I think it's been a couple of weeks since we've done one of these videos, and we do thoroughly enjoy going over the Lorne chat log. I'm quite happy that it's been, we've been doing this for nearly a year, and we still enjoy it. We always get something out of it. It's always good fun. It's that's why the chat log is such an amazing thing. It's got a bit of everything, and it's just a fun thing to go over for so many reasons. And I'm blessed to have with me, as usual, a group of great, intelligent people, and Tiffany Lockhart as well. So I do appreciate you joining us, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your kind words.
Do we really enjoy reading this? Is that
I think,
really that?
yeah.
Accurate?
Well, I don't know.
I feel an
Do you?
obligation. I feel an obligation to finish something we started, but it's not that bad. Yeah, I do enjoy it. You're right.
Yeah, it's funny.
Shim was having a sort of war with his own mind even before we started getting into it. Then
I'm denying this in my mind. How can you enjoy this? What's wrong with you?
Well, that's why I think that's one of the reasons why we like this so much is because because it's such a niche thing that we all enjoy and like nobody else would understand. It kind of makes it a bit more special in a way. Because I can just imagine showing. Can you imagine just showing some random guy that chat log, and there's bits like Mr. Penis and just the shit he comes out with. You're like, what the fuck is this? Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you're right. It's not like it's just a movie or a TV show and you can talk to your coworkers about it or, your neighbors or friends or whatever. So the fact that we have our own little group who understands this and has the same sense of humor about it makes it fun to talk to you guys about it. Because I know if I tried to talk to like normal people about this, they would think I was really weird. Yeah. Just average people in my life. It's the people in my life who do know that I'm interested in it think it's really weird. I don't get it.
Your kids know by now, right, Amanda?
Oh yeah, they know. I have to tell them to like be quiet while I'm on with you guys. So yeah, they know. They think I'm weird. They think it's really weird.
We're all weird. We might as well just embrace our weirdness, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have an issue with sound? Somebody in the chat is just asking. Can anybody hear us? Oh no! So apparently they. I'm just being honest.
Right. Someone said no sound. You're gonna have to. Got sound now. Right. Okay. No sound here. Right. I've just had to. Right, guys. It was Tom who said there was no sound. Can someone
He's got it now, though.
Yeah, could someone just let me know? Yeah, we can hear you fine. Right, okay.
Thanks, Clark.
Right, cheers for that. Well, that's good, because I would have been really puzzled then if there was no audio. And plus, that happened last week as well, so I look like a double idiot.
It wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah, I just won that, and it's good for getting that back. But,
yeah.
I'll score the winning goal before the end of the game. Yeah, so we've done how many days are we on now on the 21st?
What were you talking about?
The fourth day?
Yeah, that's the fourth day. But for us, it's like the 17th.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is the 17th video, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Over a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could actually project it out, how long it'll take us based on that now.
Yeah, so, I've worked out that by the time we finish it, a man will have walked on Mars.
Yes.
Right.
And it's going to be Lorne because he's going to volunteer. He's give his body to fucking whatever you call it, aeronautics or whatever.
But it sounds like what we're doing is 4 days. It takes us 4 days to do one day. A little more than that.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I just wanted to get an idea whether I'm still going to be alive when it's over.
None of us are.
We'll carry on in your memory, Shin.
Right, so we're up to. Let's just have a little bit of a kind of. Where do we think Lorne is at in his head now? We're 4 days in. He's got her to. He believes sort of touch herself. He's kind of got her. He's got her where he wants her, really, hasn't he? So, do we think that? This is the fascinating thing about all this for me. I don't know why I care so much about what's going on in Lorne's head. do you understand what I mean? Like, he's just a nobody. He hasn't got any particularly impressive traits as a human being. But I really care.
He does. Oh, yes, he does.
Well, yeah, but in a negative way, only like watching The Room. You know,
exactly.
It's like
funny,
unintentional fantasticness in a way. But what I mean is, it's like, I'm really interested in what was going through his head at this point. You know, like, was he genuinely happy? Did he think he'd made it? Was Kayla just some kind of, you know, I'm sorry to put this, we do have to go down this road, some kind of underage sex slave.
That's the thing about Lorne. Lorne doesn't hide his you really don't need to know what his emotions are, because he wears them on his sleeve everywhere he goes. He never conceals them. His mind is so transparent sometimes, and it's, at this point, if you were just coming in and just reading it right now, you couldn't figure it out. But I think he's really predictable too, and even though it's predictable, it's funny. It's still funny. So I don't know. This man is just it's densely packed with such entertainment.
I think he's really excited for what can happen.
Yeah, he won't hold back his feelings. Exactly.
No. I think he's very happy that she is around, and that she talks to him for as long as she does, and she's there. She's been there for the last few days.
Yeah.
I think that if she were to ghost him right now, he would be really mad.
A count of three. A count of everybody. OD said it perfectly. He thought the grooming was going swimmingly. He was probably getting increasingly happy. So I think he's proud of his work so far. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Because she's responsive, at least to a certain degree. She's not going away.
And that's all it takes with him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just don't run screaming from me, and we're in love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what's interesting about this and comical. But we get a pleasure out of seeing Lorne getting what he deserves. And what's really amusing to me is how he thinks at this stage. When I say, like, I'd love to know what's going on in his head, this is the only scenario in the universe where this kind of grooming would have worked with a girl like the character of what, although we don't know, a girl like Kayla, a normal, well-bred 13-year-old girl who's got, because generally Lorne has to seek the vulnerable people who have got problems. This is the only scenario where his crazy tactics would have worked. So he feels like a winner at this point, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean?
He does.
That's what's interesting to me. Is like, I'm so clever, I'm so handsome, and it's like he's probably believing the shit that, because Kayla doesn't really say a lot to him, but the occasional thing is like, there you go, you're funny. He's probably thinking, yeah, I knew it all along. I'm so great.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting point you bring up. It's, from what we know about him, especially with girls in real life that he's dealt with, they all had this insecurity, or they all had this vulnerability. I don't think Kayla has demonstrated that to him in this, other than you're normal. I'm pissed with my parents, so
it's
that's kind of a new ground
stuff,
for him.
Isn't it?
Yeah, she's not so vulnerable, other than her age and lack of experience and whatnot. But
in his mind, that is vulnerable.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Just the fact that he has some control.
Do you think that Lorne sees a differentiation between the MySpace girl and I know it pisses people off me calling her MySpace girl. It just doesn't seem right me using her first name, so that's the way it is. It's not
We
a
know
big
what
deal.
you're talking about.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, but that's just the way I prefer to say it. But do you think that Lorne saw a differentiation between the two? So she had the first victim one, or whatever you want to call her. She had quite pronounced problems, like with her family. I believe was her father an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And obviously,
People didn't like her in school.
Yeah, you're talking about somebody who's got it tough. You know, he's had a rough start in life, and those type of girls always end up in the clutches of someone like Lorne. It happens time and time again. Mm-hmm. It's always in the papers in Manchester. You know, there's a huge homeless problem in Manchester, and young girls will go homeless, and then they are taken in by people like Lorne. Do you think that he was mindful about the differences between that first girl and Kayla? Do you understand what I mean?
Great question. Tiffany probably could answer this better, but I have a feeling that he wasn't nearly as open and I don't know what to say, disgusting with Molly as he is with Kayla. For some reason, I don't know why. Because I think Molly would have interacted in a way that was a little more real, and he would have been a little more on his toes with her. But here he just lets out because even though he doesn't know anything about her vulnerabilities or anything like that, she's just a whiteboard. She's just nothing, you know. So I often wonder about that. I mean, do you think he talked to MySpace like this, Tiffany?
Well, here with Kayla, he's trying to figure her out. He's trying to figure out what her relationship is with her parents, how she is with school, what her friends are like with school. Obviously, when he's talking about into a real girl, they're going to be giving him information too. That's going to be more direct. Kids aren't very discreet when they're online. I think that they're very willing to give out all kinds of information. That's one of the problems. They will start posting where they go to school. They'll start posting when their families are going on vacation, who they're with, when they're home alone, that type of stuff. They're very interested in putting all of that stuff out there for everyone, not realizing that it causes a problem. And clearly when he's talking to the girl on MySpace and also everyone else that he had contact with who wasn't a decoy, they're probably giving him more information than what Kayla is going to give him, because she doesn't have a character at all. She's just really a shell of a girl who's going to be quiet and innocent, and that's what Lorne likes.
Mm-hmm. He can create his own story. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And when he can start to create that divide when it comes to the parents and the friends, just like you've seen during the calls and stuff like that, where he tries to isolate different people from, okay, well, you can only talk to me. I'm only going to trust you guys. You only trust me. Yeah. And even when he's talking to Kayla and referencing something ridiculous, like your dad isn't going to be in the delivery room with you. It's that, like, those types of things are going to start to come into play, where he's really going to play on the fact that she is isolated. She's an only child. Her parents leave without telling her where they're going for days.
Exactly.
She's 13 years old, and
all the neighbors left too, so she's in a
all the neighbors, everyone's gone. Even when it comes to her friends, she has her friends, but there's not too many. She doesn't go to big parties where she's, the popular girl, and she has people talking to her all the time. Kayla is pretty available for him to talk to. Mm-hmm. So I think during this whole conversation, he's trying to gauge where she's at. And he's going to play into whatever kind of a character they are. So with the MySpace girls and everyone else who is real, he's going to be getting a lot more from them.
Yeah, more for him to process than create.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you think he asked MySpace to marry him?
I think that it probably came up.
Hypothetically
Just
speaking.
giving,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Just think about when he was talking to Kayla on the phone. Oh, right, we're going to get married, so of course he'll be there. It's such a
Yeah.
ridiculous thing, but that is his go-to. That he wants to lock somebody in
Yeah.
immediately. And there is no getting to know someone. There isn't any we're just going to talk and see where this goes. He wants to know right away, who else are you talking to? Do you have any guys in your life? Do you have a boyfriend? All of that information is what he wants to know. So then he can start to establish himself as the guy
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
your life, so that then anything outside of that, you're obviously going to be cheating.
And when he's locked in, he's going to insist that you love him now. You don't
Yes.
you don't gradually fall in love. You've got to
No.
make a decision
That's
about it right now.
Right.
That's what's really interesting. It feels like they've been talking for a very long time because we've been
Yeah.
reading their conversation for a very long time.
It's a good point.
But this has been 4 days,
Yeah, that's a
and
good point.
the way he so rapidly falls in love, I think, in his mind, or becomes comfortable, or like establishes these rules and patterns. He's already started with the experimenting talk and all of that. It's really interesting how quickly he dives in. Like, this is his life now, and he's all in it, and he expects her to be all in it. Where most people, like normal people, wouldn't have that level of what's the word?
Possessiveness.
Yeah, or even like dedication to this new relationship in just 4 days.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's why it feels like we've been going over this, and they've been talking for so long. Is because so much has happened in such a short period of time.
I think in this situation, I could accept the possibility that he started this off just to have phone or whatever you call this, text, chat sex with a minor, and that would have been good. But I think what happened was when he started getting away with it, or when she did it, I think that's when his emotions started coming in. He could have easily just made it a one and done, I'll find somebody else tomorrow. But the fact that she was doing it so willingly, I think that's what made him really start to fall in love with her.
I think the traits that Lorne is showing here are not really different than a lot of desperate guys. I think the thing that makes this unique is you got the types of predators that you have. They just want to fulfill the fantasy and they want to get laid by a kid. Lorne obviously has that, but on top of that, he's got this really insecure emotional need that he's trying to fulfill. And it's not just, like Dr. Woolen, or many of probably most of the other predators. I think that Resticrews falls into the emotional category a little bit. He seemed to be going quite far into it. But Lorne's trying to fulfill that need, and also he's lonely in his life as well. Like, I know people don't like to think of him as a human because of what he did, but he still is, and all of the things that he's got, the basic needs that we all have, and he was at a point in his life where he had fucking nothing, literally, and everything that he'd done had failed. He's no relationships, no money, no job, no home, no bed. When I say no home, he's just rented some shitty flat. And it's even worse than that. He's had to run away because he's committed a crime. So all of that is going on Kayla, isn't it? I think that's the thing that makes the chat so interesting, is that, like, Kayla is his entire life. All of his emotional turmoil is being turned around onto her.
Well, what's funny is he takes that turmoil and he gaslights her with it. He gaslights her with so many things that are going wrong with his life to make it sound like it's some virtue. Like, he gaslights his poverty to her. All of these things are not expressed to her in a negative way. He makes the best out of it, and tries to create, again, something more lofty, a lofty, virtue or value, rather than, how we would normally say, oh, geez, I'm sorry that you don't have a bed. I'm sorry about that. It turns into, well, it's even more comfortable without one. You'll love it. Everything's gaslit. Everything.
Yeah.
Isn't it going to be better now that I quit my job?
Yeah, that's a perfect one right there.
That is a good example. Yeah.
Yeah, and he does that with everything, especially his poverty. And I'm thinking about the phone calls too. When there was one in particular, it's a very small segment where I don't know who he was talking to, but somebody was supposed to get on a plane and they wanted first class, and he actually said, "You don't need first class. Just get here. You don't need it." He's telling you what you need, and the fact that you want something greater than he could provide means that there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that when he's talking to Ramona, she doesn't want to stay in his trailer. She wants him to pay for a hotel room, and he's very offended by that. And basically, if you love me, you'll come stay in my shithole trailer with me. And yeah, he there was another example too. Now I can't remember. He also brags about the amount of money that he used to make and could someday again make.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is really do it. Don't tell me about how you used to do, make that much money.
I think he's venting a little bit there as well, Amanda James. I think part of that, it's another element of the chat log, is he uses it in his head. He's in this relationship with Kayla, so anything that he's got in his mind, he gets off his chest, doesn't he? Like he talks about his dumb brothers and sisters. I think he hints at the Betty situation with regard, like, things he doesn't want to think about. His business is going wrong. Does he mention his dad running away in the chat log?
Yeah.
He does talk about his dad.
Talks about how fatherless he was, and and
it's almost like a therapy session, but ironically, it's with himself.
Yeah.
He's just a chatter. He
a prolific
loves
chatter.
To blab and he'll tell his whole life story to anyone he's talking to. That's why we've heard all these stories over and over again about how his dad was a pizza chit and he wouldn't even buy him a loaf of bread, pay for the beer.
I mean, look at the what I've highlighted there. I'm skipping ahead here a little bit, but he says here, "You're beautiful and funny and sweet and awesome, and you're everything to me." I think he believes that, You know what I mean?
I think he does to a certain degree. He wants her to believe it. That's the most important part, because we have to remember too that even though Lorne is a prolific chatter with Kayla, he was trying to be prolific. I couldn't say it. Sorry. He wanted to be the same way with other girls too. He tried to get it going. This is after he made his whole speech about basically being in love with Kayla, and that very night he's hitting up the two other decoys.
What a scumbag!
Yeah. So I think that he does want. He wants to believe this fantasy. He wants to believe that he can carry on a relationship with a girl for 5 years, and then when she's 18, he's going to get her pregnant, and they're going to live happily ever after. He's very delusional in that way.
With a red Mercedes.
Really, really wants to believe it. The BMW, yeah. We can't talk about that too much. He gets upset.
And a Hawaiian honeymoon.
Yeah. The honeymoon, yeah, he wants that type of stuff. He wants to talk about the kids' names and everything. But at the same time, there's also a part of him, too, that has to constantly be stimulated. So he's going to be seeking out these other girls.
Yeah.
Well, and he's so desperate. He's the kind of man who always wants a backup. Mm-hmm. He wants someone on the back burner. And it seems as though he might have tried to keep his MySpace victim on the back burner, where he kept her.
He said that, right?
Number one on his.
He admitted to that,
or whatever. Yeah. Whatever.
But again, we don't know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
They had discussions about them possibly meeting or something in Nashville.
Yeah,
the fact
she was
that
supposed
she
to go
was
down there.
still friends with him on MySpace would suggest to me that there was some mutual. It didn't really end on bad.
Are you sorted out?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to fuck about it though.